Welcome, parents and families, to the Mount Whitney High School Back to School Night 2020. My name is Mr. Hamilton, and I'm the principal at Mount Whitney High School. Tonight's agenda will be a short video with a welcome, a Title I information meeting, and then some questions and answers that have been posed by parents over the last week. And then finally, we'll invite you to join our teachers in their virtual classrooms for the remainder of the evening. So our first part of business is our Title I parent meeting. Title I is some special funding that Mount Whitney High School receives to meet the needs of some of our most at-risk students. Because we have a high number of students in need, we qualify school-wide for Title I funding. What does it mean to be Title I? Title I means we receive special federal funding to supplement the school's existing programs, and those dollars get used for instructional support. So instructional support means typically we buy extra periods for teachers to teach to meet the needs of our most at-risk students. By doing that, we free up those teachers to meet the needs of all students throughout the day, and then use this supplemental funding just to meet the needs of students that are at risk. We also use that money to purchase supplemental equipment and materials for all students throughout the school year. And then we also have conducting parent meetings and parent trainings using some of those dollars. So what dollars do we receive? Well, this year our current allocation is $118,650. That sounds like a lot of money, but in paying for staff, in paying for materials, and paying for parent training, that money gets eaten away pretty quickly. We are having some parents come in, and we'll get some parent feedback on how we spend some of that money coming up, and I'll provide that information a little later in the presentation. So our goals, our academic goals. Unfortunately, last year we didn't have any standardized testing, so we don't have data from 1920, but we have the data is from 2019, and then what we scored last year. So in English language arts, we went from 63% in 2019 and to 70% in 2020. In math, we went from 31% to 35%. And although 35% is low, it's not at all what target we want to meet. I can tell you with a little bit of pride that at that rate, we are number 2 in the county for math success. Long way to go, but we are showing great progress. One of our other goals was to reduce the number of students with low grades, with D's and F's. We wanted it below 20% total D's and F's. We were at 22% last year, so we still have some work to do there. We wanted to reduce our suspension rate to no more than 5%. That's not artificially just not dealing with problems, but that's truly working with students so that we don't have repeat problems. We got it down to as low as 5.4%, but we still have work to do. And then we wanted to increase our college and career readiness by grade level to at least 40% prepared. We were all the way to 49.7%, so we're pretty proud of that growth. Still work to be done to show that every student, when they leave here, is ready to either enter the workforce or enter college. So another part of our Title I program is our parent involvement plan. The plan needs to address how we implement parent involvement, how we get parents involved in the decision-making process. For us, that typically includes school site council and PTA, how parent involvement funds get used. Our primary expense with the parent involvement funds is parent training through Parent University, and then how information and training be provided to parents, again, through Parent University, school site council, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, PTA meetings, and booster clubs. So we reach out to all the variety of groups where parents are engaged and try to make sure parents stay informed and have the ability to give us feedback on implementing new programs. So the district policy is before you. So parent involvement means the participation of parents in a regular two-way meaningful communication to ensure that you as parents play an integral role in assisting in the child's learning, that parents are encouraged to be actively involved in their child's education, and then parents are full partners in their child's education and include as appropriate in decision-making on advisory committees. So we have the compact. So the parent compact is a commitment from the school, the parent, and the student to share the responsibility for improving the academic achievement of all the students. As Title I parents, you have the right to be involved in that program, and we want to encourage parents to help us develop it. The one I'm going to show you in just a moment was developed a year ago with the help of our PTA and our school site council parents and teachers. So there's 3 parts to the compact. There's a student pledge, a parent pledge, and a staff pledge. In the student pledge, the biggest things that came about were to avoid poor behavior, to stay connected to school, to make sure they were reading every day, and then obviously to resist the use of drugs, alcohol, and violence, and follow the dress code. For the parents' pledge, that they would be participants in the educational process, and that they would help monitor their child's social media, phone, and video game usage. Social media is one of our biggest detractors in education today. It provides either incorrect information, harmful information, or detracts from the ability of students to engage in appropriate learning. And then the staff pledge. And you can see the bulleted points, but that we will explain the expectations and instructional goals to students and parents, that will work to build on children's strengths and skills. We will regularly communicate with you regarding child's progress, and communication is one of our major goals this year. It's difficult through our current pandemic, but we're working to communicate more frequently in more venues than ever before. So how do you be involved? So the first step to be involved, I would invite everybody to be part of our PTA program. We'll have information put out to you in an email very shortly to get involved in PTA. And then also to attend our school site council meeting. We'll have elections coming up after the October 13th meeting. We'll take nominations for parents to be involved. But all parents are invited to attend as non-voting members to see what we're deciding, to see what is being discussed as far as funding for our school and how we allocate those funds. That is all decided at our school site council program. So questions and answers. Hopefully parents all got the emails and the webpage about question and answer submissions. I had several responses, and so we're going to try to answer those questions here. So the first question is, will there be email communication between parents and teachers? So there's several answers to that. So one, there are several ways to communicate with teachers. Email is your best option. We are posting a list of all the teacher emails on our Matt Whitney website. There's also the ability to connect with Schoology. The district will be pushing that out very soon to all families so that you can log in and see your child's assignments, due dates, all of those things that they see in Schoology, you'll be able to see as well. There's also the ability for two-way communication within that product, and that's coming out to parents very, very soon. We just had to focus on getting students and teachers connected first, and now we can get parents added into that program so that everybody can be part of that communication. The second question that we came is there a site we can use to access student grades, assignments, and due dates? So there's 2 parts to that. So for grades and attendance, you would use PowerSchool. That's our formal record keeping. And then for assignments, due dates, you would be accessing Schoology, as I just mentioned. It will help you get connected to PowerSchool. We can do that now and help you get connected to PowerSchool. Schoology, again, there's going to be a information piece coming out very soon from the district to all parents, grades K through 12, that will help you connect to your child's Schoology accounts so that you can see assignments, due dates, and again, have that communication tool as well with your teachers. So how do you contact the school? I know there's been lots of confusion and concern about phone calls. So our phone banks are open. We have staff answering the phones. Because people aren't able to walk in like normal, The phones are ringing all day long, and they are being answered, but I'm hearing from parents that the calls are dropped, they're not answered at all because they're waiting too long. So I'm encouraging families to use email. If you have email, email the teachers, email the assistant principals, and if you don't get an answer back, email me directly. My email's on the screen right now. I do ask that maybe I'm not the first point of contact, because I will forward your email to the proper person to respond, and make sure that they respond to you. But try first with your teachers. If it's a school-wide question, again, we'll have the emails of all the assistant principals and directors posted so that you can contact them directly. If it's an immediate response you need, you absolutely use the phone. Just know that the phones are very, very busy right now, and there are many calls, unfortunately, that are going unanswered because of the numbers of calls. So I had several questions about yearbooks and photos. So I just put it kind of generically. So Essence Photography is our senior photographer for our yearbook. You are not required to buy any packages from Essence. We do ask that you take your senior photo with your senior with Essence. Other photos we're working on, we're still trying to work with vendors. It's going to be one that we have to wait until we can come back to live instruction before we can take photos. So we're using old photos right now for ID cards. As far as yearbook production, that's kind of a complicated question, because we had several parents ask if they got discounts because it was a pandemic, or if we could push back and not do anything until the spring. Unfortunately, with deadlines, we don't control the deadlines. The production company that makes our yearbook, that prints it and binds it, they control our deadlines. Their deadlines haven't changed this year at all. So we may have a smaller yearbook. We may be able to charge less. I don't know that. Right now, the cost is the same, because we're hoping that we can get all of the same content in there. But we're waiting to see what that looks like. And we're producing the yearbook with the students virtually, but they're still working on pictures, having other kids take pictures, and getting everything published on a normal deadline. So nothing has changed at this time. One of the other major questions was attendance, doctor's notes, etc. So if your child has to be absent from class, has doctor's notes, etc., we encourage you to still call the number on the screen, the 7602 number. That's our attendance main line. If you have a doctor's note, your best course would be to have the doctor fax it directly to our fax number, which is the 7641 number. Or if you need to scan it and email it, you can email it to Mrs. Cano at ecano@vust.org. Those are all acceptable ways to get your attendances cleared if you have an excused absence. So then I heard many parents were asking, when are we going to return, and will there be events for our seniors and our other students? So we don't have a date for a full return to school. We find it unlikely that we'll return anytime soon, because our ability to return is predicated completely on our county's COVID rate. And since that continues to be very high, we find it unlikely to return anytime soon. As soon as we are able to return, as soon as we get permission to host any types of events, we are as anxious as all of you to host events and have events, because that's what makes high school special. So we are trying to find virtual ways to keep kids connected. Our ASB is working right now to come up with activities that kids can do from home and share with each other. I know that's not the same thing. So we are excited that when we get the opportunity to come back, we will absolutely come back and host as many events as we can. So with that concludes my question and answer session. I'm going to invite you to visit our Mount Whitney webpage, and there'll be links for all of the teacher sessions. I encourage you to visit with teachers. They have short presentations, nothing about students yet. We're very early in the school year, but they are more than open to share what they're going to be covering this year, how their classes will work, and how you can reach out to them. And with that, I thank you and have a wonderful evening.